Good morning, Blues. Welcome back to Typical City. It feels pretty good this morning being a Manchester City fan. Pretty good. Being a Manchester City fan is always good. What am I talking about? We've done it. The Manchester City kids have beaten the Manchester United first team, really. Let's have it straight, because there was a lot of Manchester City's academy on show yesterday, and we did a wonderful job. In particular in the first half, I felt like we could have been 2 or 3 up. Easily 2 or 3 up by half time. Second half, I felt like United took better control of that game and their experienced heads started to show their class eventually, but not enough. Not enough, unfortunately, for them. And City have got the job done with a little taste of revenge. Not complete revenge, because I think going and winning a Premier League and a nice little FA Cup, that'll be proper revenge, that'll be. But massive cojones shown by some of the youngsters playing yesterday. O'Reilly had an alright game. mcfc showed his strength as well. Oscar Bob was brilliant, I thought. He was really good down that right wing. Really good. Let's have a look at the match stats as well. As you can see, City once again dominating the ball, but not that way. That's low for us, really. I mean, considering that midfield's missing Rodri, De Bruyne and Phil Foden, you can understand that, but still, you're going up against United's first team midfield, which was Mainu, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and the incredibly expensive number 7 Mason Mount, who was in midfield, going up against Kovacic, O'Reilly and McAtee in midfield, and Rico Lewis, who was shifted in and out of that midfield role. I mean, come on, and we still come away with more of the football than Manchester United. Fantastic, it really is. Number of shots, 9 to their 8. 1 on target for City to their 2. XG, a little bit low, which is understandable. I think a lot of United's XG was spiked in that second half. We were giving away a large amount of chances in that second half. 2 big chances for United in total to our 0. But passes, dominating the ball, really good. On to the players. Let's have a look at Ederson. Ederson first. Now, I've given Ederson an 8. Now, I know in the 90 minutes, Ederson getting an 8, not warranted. That, a large portion of that score, he nearly got man of the match, in fact. I was this close to giving him man of the match. But for, I mean, when's the next time I'm going to get the opportunity to put a stat for goals, scoring a goal in the goalkeeping graphic? I'm never going to get that opportunity again, so I've got to do it. I don't put goals in there. I put like a little bit more detailed stats in there, because we know who scored. But you've got to put the goals in there when a goalkeeper scores. So he gets a goal to his name, which massively increases his score in my book, because he's a goalkeeper. And then he went and saved the penalty that flipped that penalty shootout on its head. So in terms of who got the best out of that penalty shootout, Ederson comes away the hero. But there is one player that outshone him throughout the course of the full 90 minutes that he deserves man of the match, looking at the stats and looking back at the game that I watched this morning. Brilliant from Ederson, though, for him to step up like that, especially in the face of adversity with what's going on off the field. Is he a City player? Is he not going to be a City player in the coming season? He's recently answered those questions with in a Brazil publication, I believe it was, or an interview in a Brazilian for a Brazilian article. So great news that he's between the sticks for Manchester City. I feel a little bit sorry for Ortega, in truth, because I feel like Ortega's done absolutely nothing wrong. If anything, he deserves to start for Manchester City this coming season. But Ederson, you know what we get distribution-wise. You can see the 82% passing accuracy. Quality keeper. Moving on to Ruben Diaz. I've given Ruben Diaz a 7.5. A little bit generous, but I've factored in the penalty. You know, 0.5 again, I factored in the penalty to step up late into the penalty shootout as well. Obviously not one of the first 5. But he slotted it away nicely. His defensive numbers were really good, but not to criticise him, but to defend the other defenders, you know, Gvardiol and Akanji either side of him, Ruben Diaz didn't really have his hands full, to be honest, because they were playing that false 9 system where Bruno Fernandes was more drifting back, dropping deep, trying to fill pockets, rather than sitting on the toes of our central defender, Ruben Diaz. He didn't have a Højlund or a Xerxes to look after. He had Bruno Fernandes. Even so, he comes away with some very decent defensive numbers, as you can see, and the passing accuracy is great as well. That's really good from Ruben Diaz. So 7.5 for Ruben Diaz. Josko, I thought defensively he struggled in the second half, and not because of him. I think it's just positional it's shape again from Manchester City. Pep asking Gvardiol to get a little, nothing like last season, but coming forward a little bit. drifting inside a little bit as well to try and cover some space for Kovacic and get alongside him occasionally here and there. Opened up a big gaping hole for Garnacho to make the most of. That space was there for Ahmad. Ahmad didn't make the most of it. He nearly did. He got an opportunity in that first half, which he squared to Mason Mount and overhit it. But that was more complimentary to United. That was just great football to penetrate our defence like that. In the second half, United didn't need to work that hard or create anything dazzling to really break down City's defence. It was just open. It was quite open. But on the ball, I thought Gvardiol was really good. I thought going forward, he was composed. He's got that 90% passing accuracy. He's got himself a key pass as well, as you can see. 2 dribbles, one of them of which was successful. And he won 4 out of 6 ground duels. So not a bad performance. I've given him a 7 out of 10. Akanji, I thought he also struggled in the second half. He's getting an extra 0.5. I would have given him a 6.5 for the 90 minutes. But he gets an extra 0.5 for scoring that penalty and winning the Community Shield, effectively. That's a lot of his score there for a 7. But I thought he was good in the first half. I thought he was solid, did nothing wrong. Assured on the ball most of the time as well. He got 3 tackles to his name, which is decent going, and he's won 3 out of 3 ground duels as well. I just thought he looked a bit tired, to be honest, in that second half. He looked like he was struggling for a bit of pace. Marcus Rashford did him down that left-hand side a couple of times. He looked a bit short of energy. That's part and parcel of this stage of the season. The season's not really got going. It's still technically pre-season, isn't it? So that's understandable. But to step up and score that penalty, knowing what he did in the Euros, missing that penalty, to step up and win the Community Shield for City was fantastic. So big balls that took from Manuel Akanji, and he put it in the back of the net. Well played. Nathan Ake, we're talking about a minute of football here, so very little to speak of for Nathan Ake, so I've given him a 6 out of 10. Rico Lewis, I've given him a solid 7. I thought he was really good. I thought in the second half, like most of the City players, I felt like our levels just dropped in that second half. First half, Rico was everywhere, mate. He was covering space. That was really, really impressive. I'd like to see that passing accuracy bumped up a little bit, though. That's a little bit loose for me, especially if he himself wants to consider himself a midfielder. I think he said that himself. He prefers to be a 6 or an 8 rather than a right back. Fair enough. If you're going to play in that Man City midfield, though, your passing accuracy does need to be a little bit better than that. 79% is a bit too low, but still, energy levels were really good, and his positional awareness was really good as well, considering he's got that difficult role of pushing and dropping out of right back and into defensive midfield. It's a difficult role. It really is. It needs the energy levels that Rico brings to the team. But I thought he was good, Rico Lewis. 7 out of 10 for him. Mateo Kovacic, man of the match, and very much for me, dampening the fear factor of a season without cover for Rodri. I felt like Kovacic really calmed a lot of nerves for me. Now, I don't think long-term Kovacic can do the role that Rodri does over the course of a season. But knowing that Kovacic can put in a performance like that yesterday, during pre-season, mind you, as well, surrounded by youngsters, he's got O'Reilly and McAtee, inexperienced midfielders. McAtee's got experience, let's be fair. McAtee's got a year of Premier League football with Sheffield United, so we need to treat McAtee a little bit more mature. But O'Reilly's a kid. Rico Lewis is still inexperienced because he's so in and out of the team. But Kovacic was sensational yesterday, and I thought that what's fantastic about this is it's the complete midfielder's performance for me, because you're looking at 3 interceptions, reading the game. Up here, the footballing IQ, brilliant from Kovacic. 2 key passes. That's the breaking the lines that we want to see, the aggressive passes. Fantastic. Ground duels, defensive work, 3 out of 3 won. Dribbles, 1 out of 1 successful. He lost the ball 4 times. That's a fantastic midfield performance for me, and it absolutely fills me with confidence knowing that I would still rather City went and spent money on a cover for Rodri. I don't think this is the answer permanently. Ideally, I think we should be looking at someone. I'm just so happy that Kovacic proved that he can do that role yesterday, and he did it really, really well, in fairness to him. So 8.5 to Kovacic. McAtee, another 7 out of 10 for him. Great passing accuracy, I just want to highlight that. So ball retention was really good from McAtee. Really unlucky not to get himself on the score sheet as well. He was gifted the opportunity by Johnny Evans, or Martinez I think it was, trying to pass the ball to Johnny Evans, and Johnny Evans did enough to put McAtee off. Strikes the post, that bottom left-hand corner that he whipped around Onana's outstretched right hand, but he was solid enough on the ball. He was good. He offered himself. He didn't shy away from it. As you can see, 41 touches. I thought he was good, McAtee, and there's more to come from him. Pep obviously believes in him. I'm looking forward to how many minutes McAtee is actually going to get in the starting 11 for Manchester City. Will be interesting, especially if Foden and De Bruyne are a fit. Probably not too many, which is a shame for him, because it could be considered a backward step for him. In terms of the club that you're at, it's obviously a level up. Manchester City over Sheffield United, obviously it's a level up. But in terms of minutes for his personal growth, I hope he gets the game time. That's my concern for his upcoming season. I hope he gets the game time. But he did enough to put him into Pep's thinking going forward yesterday for me. He was solid, really good. O'Reilly, I thought he shied away a little bit from the ball. I thought his defensive contribution, another player that could potentially be cover for Rodri. Play him as a sitting defensive midfielder. Now, yesterday he was more of an 8. I felt like he pushed forward quite a bit. Occasionally on the ball, I would like to see a little bit more from Nico O'Reilly. That's what I want to see a bit more from on the ball contribution. But defensively, his numbers are good. Clearance, 2 interceptions. He won half of his ground duels. 2 out of 3 dribbles were successful, which is on the ball, good. Passing contribution could be more. That 82% is of 11 passes. He touched the ball 25 times. Edison touched the ball more than that. He's in midfield. I want to see him get involved a little bit more. Don't shy away. Doing the defensive work's great, and it worked, and he did a good job in that department. I would like to see him get control of that football a little bit more. In a Manchester City midfield, 11 passes and 25 touches in an hour of football in City's midfield, we need to see a little bit more. Offer yourself more than that. That's all I would say. The only tiny criticism for Nico O'Reilly, but other than that, he was brave. A couple of moments he tried to link up with Haaland. More often than not, it was Haaland that struggled to get the ball back to Nico O'Reilly on one occasion I can think of. Their link-up play was a little bit hit and miss. But a kid. We're talking about a youngster. There's such a promising young lad. And I saw a tweet from his mum as well. Just so proud of his son, her son, to see on the pitch, and I can relate to that. Not relate to the fact that my son plays for City, so I'm just proud that my lad plays football for his local football club. Do you know what I mean? This guy's playing for Manchester City. Do you know what I mean? So the level of pride that his mum must be feeling must be through the roof. So fair play to her and to Nico O'Reilly. Brave to come on the field and put in a decent enough performance, and I think he's got a future. I really do. Hopefully at Manchester City as well. Do you think he can cover, though? Get in the comments below and let me know if you think Nico O'Reilly can cover occasionally, just on the odd occasion when we might not have Rodri at our disposal. Matheus Nunes, 27 minutes of football, but he came on and he affected the game. Aggressive performance, and he took his penalty so well. That's a lot of his 6.5 there, so 0.5 of that is for smashing it into the top corner like that from a penalty. It was brave penalty. It was brilliant. Love that from Matheus Nunes. He's a bit loose with the ball. You're talking about 27 minutes of football from Matheus Nunes. He's lost the ball 6 times. Go back to Kovacic and remember that in the full 90 minutes for him, 4 times he lost the ball. And in less than half an hour, he's lost the ball more than Kovacic. So that was a concern for me. He's a little bit loose with it, but that's his game. He's not really a ball retention type midfielder. He is an explosive midfielder. That's his game. He's a rock and roll midfielder. And at 1-0 down, you needed him. You need a rock and roll midfielder just to smash some barricades down. Just knock on that door. Not knock on it. Kick it down. Kick the door down. And him and Savinho coming on together was aggressive. And Pellistri on that right-back position could not cope with Nunes and Savinho. If that was the 90 minutes of that left-hand side, it would have been torture for United down that left-hand side. But good to see Nunes come on. Took his penalty really well, 6.5 for me. De Bruyne, a minute of football we're talking about. Again, 33% is 1 of 3 passes, by the way. If you're wondering, he gets an extra 0.5 for tucking away his penalty, which is pretty much the reason he came on the pitch, to score that penalty. And he did it. Well played, Kevin De Bruyne. Hopefully he'll start the game against Chelsea. Let's see what he can bring for the coming season. 6.5. Jeremy Doku, again, another first half performance that really shone. I thought he was great in the first half, disappeared in the second half, and he came off on the hour mark, not through punishment, purely from fitness levels, and giving Savinho a run out, I imagine, as well. 78% passing accuracy. needs to bump that up a little bit. But 4 out of 8 dribbles. Get used to seeing those numbers being ridiculous this season. 8 dribble attempts, half of them completed. Normally he completes more than half, doesn't he, Doku? But there was an amazing run that he did in the first half that was fantastic. Beating Dalot, then beating Maguire. Nico O'Reilly just caught on his heels a little bit as the cross comes in. But it was great play. 6 out of 11 ground duels. I love Doku. He gets stuck in, doesn't he? He doesn't shy away from the hard graft. He loves it, doesn't he? A big season for Doku this. A big season. I need to see him up his end ball. You know, that final ball into the box. We need to see that go up a level. And he'll become a world-class player. Because he can get to the byline, no problem. That delivery into the box needs to be a little bit better for me long term. But if he can sort that out, what a player we've got. What a player. Bernardo Silva coming on for 10 minutes and he's got to give him a 7 out of 10. Even though he missed that penalty, I think we've decided now that if we get into a penalty shootout in the next knockout stages of the Champions League, let's say, he shouldn't be in the first 5. He doesn't seem to have that ability to score penalties in crucial moments. But what a contribution it was coming onto the pitch, winding up Garnacho and the United fans who were all saying, red card, because he absolutely nailed Garnacho. You were time wasting, mate. You dangled a carrot and he bit. And I hope it hurt. I hope you got what you deserved, Garnacho, mate. And then he got even more punishing because he went up the other end and scored as well. The equaliser. Take that, you rag bastard. Oh, love it from Bernardo Silva. 5 touches and one of them is a goal, an equalising goal. Love that from Bernardo Silva. 7 out of 10. What a player. Oscar Bob. 7.5 for me. Full contribution for me. I felt like his second half, like everyone else, did drop a little bit, but not by much. I felt like he was still there. He got the assist as well. Can't forget that. Vital contribution in the second half from Oscar Bob. First half, he had that one shot. That's that one shot on target you can see there. One shot and he blazes it over the bar. In pre-season, he was drilling them bottom corner, wasn't he? You know, he was finding the back of the net. A little bit of rush of blood got to his head and blazes it over the bar. Would like to have seen him hit the target, but that was a massive opportunity for Oscar Bob to make it 1-0, that. His contribution overall, though, was fantastic. His first touch, his fast feet. He's lightning, isn't he? He's so dazzling and entertaining to watch. 3 key passes as well. Really good from Oscar Bob, 7.5. Can't wait to see what he can do this season. Savinho, what a contribution as well. I thought he came on and really excited the City fans. If you weren't excited by Savinho, you weren't watching the game, because I felt like he came on. The little touches, the little glimpses of quality that we saw, you can see 4 dribble attempts, by the way, in the space of 27 minutes. 4 dribble attempts, of which he completed 3 of them. I am excited now to see this beyond the level of excitement that was before I saw him in the City shirt. The debut was good. He scored his penalty as well, which was confident and composed, and he stared down the United fans after putting it down in the back of the net. Stared down the United fans, looked at them, and then went to Edison, go and save a penalty, mate, and he did just that. 2 Brazilians linking up there beautifully with a little bit of support for one another, let's say. Brilliant from Savinho, really good. 71% passing accuracy is a bit low, but, you know, it's not his game. He doesn't seem to be that type of player. He's going to be an explosive winger, mate. 7 out of 10 is the least he deserves in my book. Erling Haaland, on the other hand, 0.5. Again, he gets that for the penalty. He tucked it away. That was hilarious. Onana being an absolute knobhead. It's not the first time he's done it as well, doing that to Erling Haaland, who just puts it, and Onana dives the wrong way. You couldn't write that stuff, could you? Oh, I love it from Erling Haaland, the composure in front of goal. But the contribution in the 90 minutes, the facts are, look at the shots straight away. He's got 0 shots to his name. That's not his fault. That's not his fault. The team has got to find a way to feed Erling Haaland better than we did yesterday. The link-up play with Erling Haaland just wasn't there. Eventually, we started to see Savinho. There was a cross that I felt like Erling Haaland should be on the end of that. He just didn't. He changed his run. He didn't come inside when he went far too towards the back post. Having said that, there were moments where it was bouncing off Erling Haaland like a wardrobe, and he needs to sort out, he needs to up his game when it comes to first touch. He needs to improve his hold-up play a little bit more, because it was bouncing off him a little bit too easily yesterday. Good to see the aerial duels. They were both won in the first half against Harry Maguire, who's good in the air. He's good in the air, Haaland. He can win those balls. We've got to get players closer to him to help him hold that ball up better. Give him an option so he's not incredibly isolated. When he gets the ball, he gets his head up, and who can I pass to? Because he's surrounded by United players. He needs to have options around him. He wants to lay it off, turn around, sprint, and get into that box. And that's Haaland's game. But even having said that, blaming the players around him is not the answer completely to Erling Haaland's narrative for yesterday's game. He has to improve his first touch. He has to try and drop deep occasionally. There were moments where I thought he could close down the defenders or even Onana a little bit more aggressively. I felt like he could have thrown himself a little bit more towards the ball to try and block the attempted clearance or the pass that was coming out from the back from United. Yeah. The thing with Erling Haaland, though, is you know full well, if he doesn't score against Chelsea, Ipswich, it'll be smelling blood against Ipswich. I've got a feeling he'll score against Chelsea. And then we'll all be loving him again, and we'll all be talking about what a superstar goal-scoring machine he is. And that's the thing with Erling Haaland, he's a unique player, and we have to factor in that his game is very, very specific and tailored to goals. Now, I know other people and fans, me included, I would love to see him improve other areas of his game. That's a definite, and that's something that we need to see more of from Erling Haaland. But make no mistake, I have every confidence that this player will be winning the Golden Boot once again for Manchester City. Will we go and win 5 Premier League titles in a row? It's been fantastic to get the season off with a nice little bit of revenge against the Rags and doing the business against your arch rivals in a Manchester derby. It doesn't get much sweeter than that. Blues, get in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up silverware.